So we're going to do area of a circle a second day, and you'll see why in a second. So let's find the area of both these circles using 3.14 for pi. So, right, area equals exactly times pi r squared, right? The radius is 10 here. We're going to use 3.14. 10 squared is 100. We actually did this one in the last lesson. When you multiply by 10, you move the decimal once. When you multiply by 100, you move it twice. This one is 314 square centimeters. Now, this is for a circle. This is for a semicircle, right? Half a circle. So for the semicircle, it's 1/2, right? Approximately 1/2 times 3.14 times 10 squared, right? It's half of the 314, so why don't we just do divide by 2. You also could do 3.14 times 50, right? Half of this, right? You could cancel that, make it 100, and then make this 50. So 3.14 times 50, or 314 divided by 2, should have the same answer either way. So I'm getting 157 that way. You can check it if I want. 157 square centimeters for half or semicircle. So what are we going to do today? Notice it said use 3.14 for pi. That's what we did in every problem the other day. We're not going to do that every time this time. All right, so now we're going to do more complicated shapes. This, right? Hopefully you see half a circle and a rectangle. So you would find the area of the rectangle, and you would add it to the area of half a circle. All right, so now notice this. It says if we want to be exact, we have to leave pi in our answer. There really is no other way. So it says find the exact area, leave pi in your answer. So area is exactly pi radius squared times radius squared. So it's exactly pi, that letter, Greek letter. We're not going to write 3.14. That's not pi. That's our approximation. The radius is 4 squared. So this is pi times 16. Now, pi is a letter. When we write letters like x, do we ever write x16? No, we do not. So what do you think the answer here is? And this is 16 pi square inches, which is a little bit bigger than 16 times 3, right? 16 times 3 is 48, I believe. So it's a little bit, and then with the 3.14 business, it would be a little bit more than, what, 50 square inches. But that's the only way to write the exact answer. Okay, so if you're asked for the exact answer, I really don't have to put the leave pi in your answer. I should say one or the other. But they both mean the same thing. All right, so same thing here. So A equals pi r squared. What is the radius here? It is not 3. That's all the way across. It is this one, right? Halfway across. So it's A equals pi times 1.5 squared. So let's do 1.5 times 1.5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 plus 1 is 7. Step over. 1 times 5 and 1 times 1. And it's 225, but you move the decimal twice, because there's two numbers to the right. And so it's pi times 2.25, but we're not going to write it that way. We're going to write 2.25 pi, and that means 2.25 times pi square centimeters. It's actually easier, isn't it? Believe it or not, in geometry in high school, you're going to do this more often than the 3.14 method. All right, so for parts of a circle, this is particularly good, and you're going to see that. So we're going to find the exact area of half this circle. So it's half times pi times radius squared. 1/2 times pi. What's the radius? The radius is 8. 8 squared, right? You have to do the 64 first, by the way, before you do your cancel. You can't cancel the 2 with the 8. And so the 64 becomes half of 64 is 32. This is the half circle is exactly 32 pi. The whole circle was 64 pi, and it's square centimeters. All right, so this is 1/4 of a circle. And so it's 1/4 times pi times the radius. Yeah, the radius is 10 squared. which is 1/4 times pi times 100. 4 goes into 100 25 times. This is exactly 25 pi square feet. That's 25 times pi. Remembering that pi is a little more than 3. This is a little more than 25 times 3. This one's a little more than 32 times 3. So I showed you the pool, or it was a pool, it was a picture frame in ours, right? Where you had to find the area of just the picture frame. Same idea here. You have a large circle, and you're going to take away a small circle. And as an added bonus, it says find the exact area. You're going to leave pi in your answer. This is making it easy. So the large circle is pi. The radius of that is 10. The small circle is got a radius of 6. So this is 100 pi minus 36 pi. Now, think about this. If you had 100x minus 36x, what would be the answer? You do the same thing. Pi's a letter. All right. It's not a variable because we know its value. It's not varying, but it's 100 pi minus 36 pi. And don't do that. Don't put the pi's here. I'm regretting that. And this is 64 times pi. And it's square inches because there's 2 little marks. Yeah, 100 pi minus 36 pi is 64 pi, which is around a little less than 64 times 3. Now, if I could have put this problem yet in the last lesson, and then you would have had to do 100 times 3.14, 36 times 3.14, and then subtract the decimals you would have gotten. You could have done that. It just would have been more work. Okay. So we're going to find the exact area of this. We're going to leave pi in our answer. Now, so let's do the rectangle because that's the easy part, right? The rectangle is 5 times 12, base times height. Now the circle. Let's do it in a different color. So it's half a circle. So it's 1/2 pi. What's the radius? Now, all the way across is 12. So what's halfway across? 6. It's 1/2 times pi times 6 squared. Now, so this becomes 1/2 times pi times 36. 2 goes into 36, 18. So the semicircle is 18 pi. The rectangle is 60. So now 60, right? If you had 60 minus 18x, what would you do? You'd stop, right? Because they're not like terms. Guess what? Same thing. So with 60, the answer here is, so let's go over this. So the rectangle is 60 square units. The half a circle is 18 times pi, a little more than 18 times 3. And you write this as 60 minus 18 times pi. That is the answer. That's as simple as you can make that expression. That's the only way to write the exact answer here. If you want to multiply by 3.14, then you would have to approximate. All right, so hopefully you see a rectangle again, but this time we're adding 1/4 of a circle. So the rectangle is 15 times 8, base times height, and this is 1/4 of a circle, right? Hopefully you can see that, right? That's half a circle, and that's whole circle. I'm not a good artist, as you just proved. So 1/4 of a circle now, which is pi times the radius. What's the radius of this circle? It's the 8. It's the 8 there, right? If I drew the circle, right, that's why I did the other ones first, right? The radius would be 8. So pi times 8 squared times 1/4, right? Because it's 1/4 of a circle. So 1/4 times pi times 64. Now 4 goes into 64, and we're going to cancel the 4 with the 64. And 4 is in 24, 6 times, oh, it's 16. So this is 16 times pi for just this little 1/4 of a circle. That's 16 pi square units. 15 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40, is 120 square, this is square inches. So I have to subtract, and so it looks weird the first time, but this is not unusual in high school. 120 minus 16 pi is the answer. All right, exactly how many squares in there? Now, let's see, right? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another row makes 8, another row makes 12, 16 just in that. So it's more than 16. I see 17th, 18th, 19th, 20. I'd say that's 21, almost 22. I was saying around 20 there. I think my answer is around 23 squares. 23 squares. Let's see. So I see a square right at the bottom, which is 4 by 4. So that's 16 squares right there. Now, the circle, or the half circle, right? So I see a half circle there, a semicircle, on top of a square. And so that is going to be 1/2 times pi times the radius. Now, is the radius 2? Yeah, the radius is 2. So 2 squared, which is 1/2 times pi times 4, which is 2 pi. Okay? So how many squares exactly in there? 16 plus 2 times pi. All right, that is the answer. Now, pi is 3, right? So there are 16 plus 6, approximately. There's a more than 22, because pi is bigger than 3. So there's more than 22 squares there. Right? What did I say? Oh, I said 23, didn't I? Right? Because the 16 from the bottom, and then 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then there's these extra ones here, 23. Okay, now we're going to do a little fun here. Why pi r squared? Well, let's look at this rectangle. Okay, I made this rectangle. This and this are the exact same area. All right, or let me, not that and that. That and that are the same exact area. So what's going on here? The height here is the same as the radius of that circle. Okay, the base of this rectangle is 2 times pi. Okay, and and so if you did the area of this, it would be 2 times 2 pi, or 4 pi, right? And if you did the area of this, it's pi r squared, which is pi times 2 squared, also 4 pi. So these two things have the exact same area. How is that possible? There's the exact same amount of squares in there as there. So what I'm going to do to prove that to you is I'm going to take this and cut it up in, right? There's all these curved parts, right? How am I going to get these curved parts into something that's straight? Well, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to cut it up into little triangles. And so this edge, although curved, is almost straight because I'm just going to use a little section of it. And you're going to see that in 1 second. So let's see that. So there, I've cut it up into little sections. Now I'm going to put them over there. And then that's half a circle. And hopefully you see it's filling up about half the rectangle. I take the other ones, put it over there. And my drawing wasn't perfect, but those have the exact same area. And it's the relationship that base times height at pi r times r. This is r, and pi r. All right, pi r times r is pi r squared. Okay. Let's practice. We're finding the exact area. Life is easy today. So area of a circle is pi r squared. So it's pi times 13 squared. What's the other thing called? That's a chord. This is our radius. 13 squared is 169. This is exactly 169 pi. All right. 13 times 13. 3 times 3 is 9. 3. Whoops. And 169. Okay, so now, what fraction of a circle is that? We took a fourth away. We subtracted a fourth. much of a circle is that? Hopefully you realize that's 3/4, right? It's 3 of these fourths, 3/4. So 3/4 times pi times the radius squared. The radius here is 4, so it's 3/4 times pi times 4 squared. 3/4 times pi times 16. Yes, you could write this faster than me. And I'm getting 3 times 4, or 12 pi square inches. Did I not put square inches on the last one? Bad for me. Square inches. Here, hopefully you see a square, so we see a square, and the square is 20 by 20, base times height, or multiply the size, and we're going to add that to the semicircle, or half a circle. Now, it's pi times radius squared. Now, the diameter is 20, so what's the radius of that circle? It's 10, so this is pi times 10 squared, also known as 100 pi. So we're going to add 2 times 2 is 4, 40, so that's 400. This is 400 square units. Up here is 100 pi, which is 100 times around 40. Doesn't look that big, but anyway, and maybe I didn't draw it perfectly to scale, which sounds like me, but that's the answer, right? Those are not like terms. 400 plus 100 pi is perfectly good. Final question, so we have a square here, right, which is 12 by 12. It looks like a square. I should have said that it was a square, right? But it's 12 by 12. Which is 144 square inches. Now, and what are we going to do with this cutout, right? There's a cutout of a circle. We're taking the circle away. The circle is a full circle, pi r squared, and the radius is 2. So pi times 2 squared, or 4 pi. So the answer to this is 144 minus 4 pi. Good luck with the homework.